3 passengers got into the wrong Uber. What happened next will terrify you. These are true stories, and after hearing them, you'll never feel safe in a rideshare again. Story 1. The Extra Passenger. It was just past 8 p.m. on a quiet Sunday night. A 33-year-old woman was leaving her apartment with her boyfriend and their small dog. She had ordered an Uber pet to visit her parents, a routine trip she'd made dozens of times before. But this ride would be anything but routine. The car turned onto their street, but something was immediately wrong. Instead of pulling up to them, the only people visible on the empty street, the driver stopped about 5 meters away. She found this odd. Why wouldn't he come closer? They were clearly the passengers he was looking for. As the couple approached the vehicle, that's when they saw him. A man sitting directly behind the driver. A stranger who had absolutely no reason to be there. For a moment, she wondered if maybe the driver was bothered by seeing her boyfriend with the dog. But she had specifically ordered an Uber pet. The driver knew there would be an animal. Then the driver looked directly at her, canceled the ride, and drove off. No explanation, no apology, just gone. But here's what makes this truly terrifying. If the driver already had another ride in progress, the app would have shown that. There was no other ride, no legitimate reason for that man to be in the car. She realized what had likely happened. The driver saw her name, saw that his passenger was a woman, and he brought someone with him. He was waiting to see if she was alone, or if the man walking with her was just a stranger passing by. When he saw her boyfriend, the plan was over. She reported this to Uber immediately, but never received a response. And somewhere out there, that driver is still accepting rides. But that's just the beginning. Story 2. The Stalker Driver. A 23-year-old woman was working downtown and relied on Uber to get around. She'd taken hundreds of rides over the years, met dozens of drivers. Most were forgettable. But this driver, this one had been paying very, very close attention. The ride started normally enough. Mid-30s guy, heavier set, seemed friendly. But then he said something that made her blood run cold. "I've picked you up before." That wasn't unusual. She used Uber almost daily. But then he started proving it. He asked why she didn't still work at her old job from 4 years ago. He remembered her hometown, her high school, what she had studied in college, how many siblings she had. "You're from Wright?" he said, naming her exact hometown. "You went to high school?" Again, perfectly accurate. "And you have 2 younger sisters, right? Still studying art history at university?" Here's what made this absolutely terrifying. She was never a chatty passenger. She always gave vague one-word answers to avoid sharing personal details with strangers who knew where she lived. She had no memory of ever telling any driver this specific information. The questions got more invasive. Her relationship status, what year she graduated, where she liked to go out with friends. He even knew about her male roommate and asked inappropriate questions about their relationship, all while constantly staring at her in the rearview mirror. She stopped answering, giving only curt responses, but he wouldn't stop asking. For the entire 10-minute drive, this stranger interrogated her about her personal life, complimenting her appearance, calling her his favorite rider. Then, as they approached her apartment building, he asked which door was hers, so she wouldn't get wet. It wasn't raining. She lied and pointed to her landlord's door, but he pulled up to her actual door anyway. He already knew exactly where she lived. Before unlocking the doors, he turned around, smiled at her, and said, "This is the longest ride we've taken together." Then he told her. He hoped to see her soon. She waited for him to leave, then immediately reported him to Uber. They blocked him from ever matching with her again and launched an investigation into his account. She took the bus for weeks after that, terrified of who else might be keeping detailed files on her personal information. She has since moved. But she still wonders, how much did he really know about her life? And how did he get that information? But if you think that's as bad as it gets, you're wrong. Story 3, The Detour. It was 2 a.m. when she realized her Uber driver wasn't taking her home. A young woman had been at a friend's house and completely lost track of time. Rather than stay over, she decided to call an Uber for the 40-minute drive back to the city. She was already nervous about taking Uber alone at night, but nothing could have prepared her for what happened next. The moment she got into the car, the driver's very first words were, "You're so pretty." Red flags immediately started going off in her head. She's an anxious person by nature, and those alarms were screaming. 5 minutes into the drive, things got worse. The driver had seen her male friend standing in the doorway when she left, and now he asked, "Was that your boyfriend?" Her gut told her something was very wrong. She quickly replied yes and said nothing more. But the driver wouldn't drop it. He went on and on about how lucky her boyfriend was, and again how pretty she was. At this point, she stopped responding entirely. Then, 10 minutes into the drive, the words that changed everything. "I know a quicker way to get to your house. We're going to take a detour." Her heart dropped into her stomach. As an anxious Uber rider, she always watched the GPS on the driver's phone, obsessively following their route. This shortcut wasn't heading toward the city. It was going deeper, into rural roads. Darker roads, more isolated, further from help. She tried calling her dad, no answer. It was past 3 a.m. That's when she made the decision that saved her life. She called 911, but she couldn't just say, "Help me, I'm being kidnapped." The driver would hear every word. So she did something brilliant, something that could save your life if you ever find yourself in this situation. She pretended she was talking to her dad. "Hi, Dad," she said calmly into the phone. "I'm in an Uber right now, and I'll be home soon." The 911 operator immediately understood the situation. She couldn't speak freely. The operator was incredible, guiding her through the crisis using only questions that required yes or no answers. "What color is the car?" She answered simply, "Yes." "Are you in danger?" Her voice trembled as she replied, I don't know." The operator had her confirm their location, then gave her life-saving instructions. "Tell the driver to get on the highway. There's a police officer waiting near the station who will make sure you get home safely." She somehow convinced the driver to change their destination to an address the operator provided near the police station. She stayed on the phone with the operator until they arrived. Sure enough, a police officer was waiting just a few houses down. She got out of that car and walked straight to the police vehicle. She never saw that driver again. To this day, she only takes Uber during daylight hours, and she always shares her ride location with family and friends. Her quick thinking and that 911 call may have saved her life. Her story teaches us that when something feels wrong, it probably is.